And I would like to invite Professor Senka Maćešić, the Vice Director for Digitalization and Organization of the University of Rijeka, to start. Professor Maćešić is a professor of mathematics at the Technical Faculty of the University of Rijeka. She was Vice Dean for Scientific Research for the Technical Faculty of the University. She has a PhD in Technical Sciences and Fluid Mechanics, and she's taking part in numerous scientific projects and is now in charge of the digitalization of the University of Rijeka, while also developing the project of virtual campus that University of Rijeka is building within the YUFE Young Universities for the Future of Europe project. So the floor is yours.
As Nada said, I'm Senka Maćešić. I'm from the University of Rijeka, and I'm the Vice President for Digitalization and Development. And I'm here to talk about the Young Universities for the Future of Europe Alliance virtual campus. And I will try to do several things. A little bit of introduction about the University of Rijeka, the city of Rijeka, then about what are the main values and main values of the Young Universities of Future of Europe Alliance, how we deal with education within the Alliance, and how virtual campus is helping us with that. So, our university is relatively young. Unfortunately, this May we officially stopped being young because we hit the 15 years of existence. So we will not be in the classification, the legal classification that we are pretty young. But that will happen probably to all of the young universities in Europe, so we can live with that. The bright side of being young is, of course, that we are more prone to changes and more ready to think about new inventions, things. So we really very strongly believe in expanding our new priorities, not just a phrase for us. We have a really strong dedication to European values and that story. So our city is also a little bit specific and different than most of the cities in Croatia. We're also more like different, and one of the things that we are proud of is the fact that our city of Rijeka was European Capital of Culture in 2020, and the university was, of course, strongly involved in that program, and we had a lot of things and events that we co-created with the city. And one of these very important was our new Center for Planning and Architecture, Delta Lab, which created a very famous exhibition called Human Fantastica that eventually at the end was on the Biennale in Vienna, in Venice, sorry. So the other thing that actually proves that we are very, very dedicated to the new concept of university that is, of course, student-centered, about open research and internationalization in research and interdisciplinarity in research, and everything is also those values that we are community engaged, highly community engaged, and highly interested in helping entrepreneurship in Vienna. So the proofs are here because we are on the Town's Higher Education Impact Rankings list. In 2022, it was the first time we applied to it, and we are on the position between 301 to 400 position. So it's very good for a young university. We are very strong, very good in actually the community engagement parts and those values, and much less in the part related to energy efficiency and ecological questions, simply because of the financial aspect of that type of engagement. We also obtained the Triple-E award of the Accreditation Council, that is stationed in Germany, and that within Europe, but also in the whole world, gives this award related to community engagement and that type of new universities. We are the first runner-up in year 2022 as the Engaged University of the Year award, and also the People's Choice winner. So we have some objective measures that we are really dedicated to these questions. How we stand with digitalization in education within the university? Well, we are strongly connected with some infrastructure within Croatia. Everybody in Croatia knows about Senka and about Carnet, and we have a really excellent cooperation with both institutions. And one of these two figures is our data center that is part of the Croatian Scientific and Educational Cloud that was recently opened. Actually, the final ceremony of opening was yesterday in Zagreb. And one of these new things that we are trying to do is, and we are doing in the last 1 or 2 years, is that we add it to everything else we are doing in education. We are, for example, offering Coursera courses to all our students and staff. So it's something that is integrated and career opportunities for the staff, and also integrated and knowledge as part of their educational processes for the students. The other things are what I already said, Carnet, very basically we are on Moodle and the learning management system because it's more than we use cards and signing key documents. It's run by the Cecilia in Croatia now, and all other things that we can do about e-learning and digitalization there. So not to go into too much detail. So now, what is YUFE? YUFE is, as we already said several times, the Young Universities for the Future of Europe Alliance. It is an alliance that is now in the second round of projects. We have now YUFE 2020 and YUFE 2030, so this plus version, second round. On both processes of applying and the project, we were with the best for alliance. So because this is really a strong alliance with Maastricht, Antwerp, Essex, Bremen, Eastern Finland, University Carlos in Madrid, and also University of Cyprus, us and Nicolaus Copernicus from Turin. So you partly see the map, partly not all everything, but it's the alliance that most of the alliances are really strongly dedicated to European values, and that is what I already mentioned: student center, open research, internationalization in that part, and then also community engagement, civic engagement, openness to collaborate with different other things. So openness to inclusivity, openness for entrepreneurship and things like that. So this is the YUFE values, and the picture that you saw on the first slide about YUFE was a picture from the town hall that we had in Rijeka just a few weeks ago, and it was really a great event that was the kickoff meeting at the same time for the second time of this program. And as you probably all know, the new thing is that we are really trying to reach the goal of creating actually an effective institution within Europe, within science. So I'd like to little bit move out from this entire story because one important thing is what we kind of refreshed that our meeting was the question, why are we creating this line? So the story is, of course, that Europe is trying to really become something that is more than just a lot of states in one continent. And one way is to approach this integration of Europe, which doesn't, not necessarily, but doesn't really at all need to include losing differences and variety that enriches us, is the way of doing it politically and financially. Firstly, everyone in Europe was focused on the same currency, not having much softer boundaries and much more movable citizens and everything like that. But the real thing, the real change will happen if we create really a new generation that are really feeling like Europeans, not just French, English, or anything like that. So how to obtain that? Through some sort of cultural change. And then the idea was that the higher education is the best place to start something like that. So this is the Macron's idea. And so the higher education was the starting point of this new round of revolution within the European Union. So it is good to, when we start doing with job within a project, we are of course focused on practical tasks that are at the moment in front of us. But if we forget about the great picture, then we can go in the way and find solutions that are not in accordance with the initial idea and initial concept. And if we are all dedicated to create really new European citizens, then this is very important to remember that. So this is the big frame for the youth. Now when we start to work, then we say, of course, we have several levels of what we are doing in YUFE. Actually, now we have 12 work packages dealing with different aspects of what we want to do within that alliance. And the educational offer is like this. We want to offer a lot of single courses and activities for students and also for staff, because we want them to grow in their careers. Then we want to create the possibility of YUFE minors. This is something important to all Europe. And the top of everything is a YUFE bachelor program that we will start creating here. And it's all like modular. What we already produced and we are already offering to our students almost from the very beginning, a different YUFE academic courses, YUFE language courses, YUFE professional training, and YUFE civic engagement possibilities, and YUFE academic and YUFE induction courses. These are like pieces of a puzzle, and each student will become student of YUFE Alliance, and that is more or less a combination of, you enroll at one of the universities, and then you are starting to think about how can I explore the possibilities of what this YUFE Alliance has to offer, and how can I really create some new value for my education process. So these each student according to their personal preferences chooses from the offer and creates a very unique package that is good for him. And this is where, of course, virtual campus becomes very important, because the idea is that they can, of course, go to one of the other universities and go there and be physically there for a semester or two or whatever. But also what really can help that mobility a lot is the virtual online courses and virtual mobility. everything that the students do is recognized to our star model, star system. So for each activity within YUFE, student gets some points, some stars, accreditation, and that is something that actually the certificates and everything is integrated within our document that comes after he completes the study program and get the degree. What are for the student journey number? We were really doing a lot of that in our first 3 years of the project, and what we managed up to now, and what are our numbers up to now, is 860 students that participated in the student journey program. So there were 10 universities before. Then Tor Vergata left, and now Sorbonne Nouvelle is joining us. So it is like 86 per university. And 725 students that currently are enrolled. Graduates, over 130 students actually completed the program. Yes, paper that proved that. Students enrolled in average courses and activities in 3 different universities that are within the YUFE lines, on average enrolling 5.5 courses and activities during that program. And these are the numbers of like 390 academic courses for now, up to now 68 language courses, and etc. So this is the actual result of the first part. Then there are minors. We all probably understand here what minors are. So just say that the minors are, of course, an important part of that building from the puzzle an entire educational system. One example of YUFE minors is that actually students are picking this part, and some of the courses or YUFE challenges or academic courses and civic and professional activities and engagement can create one meaningful minor that is then offered as a minor to the students, not just in facts. So this is our concept of how minors are created, and we are already have minors in offer. And then the bachelor is created like with minors and building blocks. So this is our concept of YUFE bachelor program. That is something that we are really institutionally creating as something meaningful and to offer to students. And that is the idea that the student, of course, enrolls in one of the 10 universities and starts there with the first and second semester with an introduction and preparation for the study. Then from the third to the fifth semester, listens to different YUFE minors as a personalized educational path. And at the end of the bachelor, in the sixth semester, he was on the bachelor thesis, again only at the university where he's enrolled. So this is the concept. These are some important visual links where the YUFE alliances, where our social network presence is created, and the virtual campus is in the beginning. So let's talk about virtual campus finally. Well, what is probably, I mean, I'm very certain that we are not the only alliance that reached the idea of creating virtual campus as a place to really help this idea of mobility and of creating new possibilities for students. There are several significant challenges within how to create a good virtual campus. But this is not any different from the challenges that any alliance has in general. It is the fact that we are alliance of different universities within very different countries, with different laws, regulations for educational activities. That we have different solutions for our administrative work related to the educational learning that are different also in learning management systems that we are using, and 10 different learning management systems that are 10 different administrative student management systems, and how from this very different story still make and create something that on the virtual level is enabling students to listen to other courses at other universities and create this, and still manage to, of course, in a reasonable way, administratively follow what he's doing and everything else. So, and the idea is not to go there and say, well, most of us are using Moodle. So let's force those that are not using Moodle to use Moodle, so we have the same learning management system. Or to say, no, so we will now put a lot of money to have all our 10 universities on the same student management system. This is not the idea. Or let's break every law in every country and do what we want to do. Or let's force these countries to change the laws immediately, and after that we will do what we want to do. No, it is this very, at first sight, its first impression is that it's mission impossible to create something that is integrated and still do not intervene too much or even nothing in the beginning in the existing systems in 10 different countries and 10 different universities. So it is like a little bit the beginning, well, how can we do that without getting just one agreement about what is an associate professor? Can we say that we really need just one set of criteria, what is an associate professor, or we can do it more softly, more creatively, and also the students. So that is the same, and also with the digitalization in the education processes within the alliances. So this is the basic function of student. Virtual campus is just one place where you can communicate with all those IT systems in all those different universities. So you collect what you need of data from SMS and systems from all the universities. What data you probably need? You want to know at what year, at what study program the student that wants to enroll to a course is. Does he really satisfy some minimum requirements for the enrollment? And when everything is checked, then you give him the permission to enroll the course. Then when he completes and then he goes directly, he is enrolled in that course. So in a way, he has to be visible in the student management system of the particular university that offers the course. And then he also has to have access to the learning management system that is related to that course. And when everything is completed and he is finished with the course and gets the grade, then all the information about his successful completion of that course must go back to the original university, because that is university that has to say, okay, and this is something that we now know that he did, and so this is some part of his ECTS point that he needs to collect. So this is virtual campus. It has the outer layer of the user interface and communicating with students and offering them all these new things, and also a deep infrastructure, complicated infrastructure of checking data between different universities. And this is not an easy task to develop, an easy thing to develop. You have to create the right architecture, choose the right tools in digitalization to do that. This is something that I already described how it works, so I will not stay any longer on that slide. And this is how it looks after the first round of the new project. This is the portal for the YUFE virtual campus. You can easily check it at virtualcampus.yufe.eu or you can live how that it looks. And I must tell you the following. I don't know how many other alliances approach that question. I know for certain that the alliance in which University of Zagreb, their faculty of law is, they had an excellent support of SETSEN, of the University of Zagreb, really important center for all, actually for all universities in Croatia. And they created the virtual campus from the hard part of the work, so the non-visible part of the work that is the architecture of the deep communication with systems of collecting data about students. And they, for now, do not have the visible part, the user interface that talks to the students. And in YUFE, the decision in Maastricht was to go in the opposite direction. So we created this first level of communication, so the students have a place to go, a place to ask for enrollment, can see the courses that are in offer, decide, ask to enroll, get all the important information. Yes, you did this, you did that. You have pages where you can follow all the accomplishments and check everything. But the communication of and the job of checking the actual status of the student in the local student management system is done by people, living people, and that is something that we must solve now. So this is how it looks. It obviously, the whole virtual campus has 4, not just one, it's not just for students, it's for staff. It's for also the innovation and entrepreneurship, so it's for commercial activities in any of the alliance towns and regions. It's for citizens and citizens also. For example, this is how the portal for citizens looks like. Every citizen can go there and check what each of the universities and towns where they are situated has to offer for them. And this is how this is not inside the virtual campus. This is if you see it says there, explore user courses. So you cannot even know any one of us can go there and see what will be offered. And when you log in, then you get the real administrative support. So to explore user courses, these are the same that I showed in one of the previous slides. So it's academic courses, language courses, civic engagement activities, professional training activities, YUFE academy lectures, and YUFE induction courses. When you click on any of these parts, you get the list of what is offered. So this is this version when you still want to explore the academic courses that have been offered. Yeah, obviously it is quite light and quite small. So these are here are, I will tell you, one we operated from the University of Bremen, one from the Eastern Finland. The first from Bremen has a code, so I do not have an idea correctly of what it is about, but the second is about 20th century Russian literature and culture. That was probably before some time. And the third is 3D treatment planning of the face and jaw. And when you click on that, I obviously chose that because it's an offer from the University of Rijeka, Faculty of Dental Medicine. And I must say that I, of course, know people that are offering that course, and I'm not talking about that just because of that, because I'm trying to say this is a very specific topic. It's a topic of dental medicine, and to teach about treatment planning of the face and jaw for the completely virtual, on a virtual campus, and not any physical contact with patients and everything. You can do only if you have some really great software that helps this 3D planning and visualization and manipulation and everything. So it's an important situation where you, for a lot of courses, it's not Moodle. Moodle is not enough. You really have to have very strong tools for so that they can learn even in a virtual situation about very physical stuff. So this is one type of course that we have. And the next slide, very briefly, just so that you can visualize how a student sees himself and the actual virtual campus and how he can exactly follow how many of the things that he plans to do he already finished. So we already see that from the induction courses, he completed 3 out of 5 reduction courses, and the orange part means that he is still recently to 1 additional induction course, he completed 1 academic course, and didn't go in any other of the 5 that are needed for that student journey to be finalized. To get civic engagement activities, professional training, and training, and he also already got like 1 star, 1 star, and 10 stars already working on them to get them. So this is how this looks. Some really details you can go and see in detail what are these academic courses and what grade did he obtain. Is he still waiting for the enrollment or not? It's similar stuff. Yeah, this is really good quality. They are very light, those fonts and those letters. So when put like this, you can see a lot, but this is also a more detailed view on the certificate and stars of the student. And this is also something interesting. We have tests. Interesting tests within the YUFE virtual campus offered, like 4th October test and then things like that related to different things like behavioral neuroscience questions here. So that is more or less everything that I want to present. So it's a lot of different types of information. I didn't obviously go in detail about any of the tools that are really focused on the process of teaching when you are in the classroom and working with students. And I'm looking forward that type of presentations in the 2 days. But it's a like overview of how something that doesn't deal with that micro management of and micro improvement of the education in the classroom with some sophisticated and important new tools. And it's in a way in that part really quite soft and allows everything and doesn't ban nothing, but still has the power to, I believe, really make a very important change in the educational, higher educational world of